Okay, so when you think of the Great Gatsby, what comes to mind? Probably a tragic love story, right? Roaring parties, impossible romance. But what if I told you that's just the surface? That beneath all that glitz, F. Scott Fitzgerald hid something way sharper. A devastating critique of the American dream itself. We're about to unpack how his masterpiece isn't just a story, it's a warning.
You've probably heard this line before, right? It's iconic. Gatsby believed in the green light, that tiny light at the end of Daisy's dock. It's everything he's reaching for, the symbol of all his desires. But here's the kicker. What if that light was never actually meant to be reached? What if the whole point is that it's designed to stay just forever, out there in the distance?
So let's talk about that unreachable green light. Because Gatsby's whole quest for it, it blows the lid off the American dream, showing it's not some golden promise, but a really carefully built illusion. And honestly, it's kind of wild how a warning from a 100-year-old book feels like it was written about us, right now.
See, here's the thing about that green light. It's not just about getting the girl, about winning back Daisy. It's so much bigger than that. It's about an idealized past, a perfect moment he thinks he can just buy his way back into. But Fitzgerald is showing us, no, that dream is a total mirage. You know, the kind you see in the desert. The closer you run to it, the faster it just recedes, always just out of reach. It's almost like the system is designed to keep you running, forever.
Okay, so how do we deconstruct this whole illusion? To really get why Gatsby's quest was, well, doomed from the very beginning, we have to look at the hidden rules of his world. And believe it or not, there are some pretty powerful economic theories that nail exactly what's going on.
All right, the first big idea you gotta know is something called conspicuous consumption. This term comes from a sociologist named Thorstein Veblen, and it's brilliant. It basically says it's not enough to be rich, you have to show everybody you're rich. And Gatsby, oh man, he is the poster child for this. The massive mansion, the hydroplane, those insane parties, they're not really for fun. They're ads. They're giant, glittering billboards advertising his success.
But, and this is the huge catch, it all comes down to this epic clash between old money and new money. For people like Tom and Daisy Buchanan, their wealth is just there. It's inherited, it's effortless, it's like the air they breathe. But for Gatsby, his wealth is a constant, loud, flashy performance. And the old money crowd, they don't see his big parties and think, wow, he's one of us. No way. They see it as a tacky, vulgar sign that he is absolutely 100% an outsider.
So these are the unspoken rules, the invisible walls Gatsby keeps running into. In this super exclusive club, cash alone just doesn't cut it. The real currency is your last name, the way you talk, all the subtle things you know without being told. Gatsby can learn the lines, he can wear the costume, but he can never truly be one of them. And the fact that his whole self-made empire is built on illegal money, it makes everything so fragile, just waiting for the old guard to come and smash it all down.
And this constant, relentless performance of wealth, it leads somewhere really dark. We have to talk about the human cost of all this waste, because this is where capitalism's excess gets really ugly, where it just becomes morally indifferent.
You know, one of the most brilliant little details in the whole book is the oranges. Think about it. Every week, crates and crates of oranges and lemons show up. They get squeezed by a machine for the party guests, and then on Monday, all these pulpless halves are just hauled away like garbage. This isn't about hydration, folks. This is about showing you can afford to be ridiculously, extravagantly wasteful. It's a power move. It's Gatsby signaling to the world, I have so much money, I can literally just throw it in the trash.
And this is where it gets absolutely devastating. Because this culture of waste, it doesn't stop with fruit. Nick has this horrifying realization that people like Tom and Daisy, they treat human beings the same way. They were careless people. They consume others, Gatsby, Myrtle, her husband George, and when they're done, they just smash them up. And then they retreat back into their money, into their carelessness, and let someone else clean up the wreckage. So where does it all go? All this waste, all these broken things and broken people, they end up in the Valley of Ashes. It's literally the graveyard of capitalism. It's the bleak, gray, industrial byproduct of the American dream, the ugly truth hidden just out of sight of the glittering parties. And looming over it all are the eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg on that billboard, like the eyes of some commercial, uncaring god just watching it all burn. So a corrupted dream, a rigid class system, incredible waste. You might be thinking, okay, That was then. But why does this story, a century later, still hit so hard? The reason is simple. The machine that powers this illusion is not only still here, it's gone digital.
Seriously, just stop and think about it for a second. If Gatsby were alive today, where would we find him? What would he be doing?
I mean, the parallels are they're uncanny. Gatsby's library full of books he never read, that's our perfectly curated Instagram feeds. His whole story about being an Oxford man, that's the polished, maybe slightly exaggerated LinkedIn profile we all agonize over. His giant car, his parties, it's the exact same blueprint as the modern brand influencer lifestyle, all designed to project this flawless image of success. And this leads to a pretty chilling idea, something we could call the planned obsolescence of the soul. You know how companies design phones to become outdated? Well, we're now encouraged to do that to ourselves, to constantly rebrand, to stay relevant in this crazy marketplace of attention. We end up trading our real selves for a curated persona, just like a young James Gatz traded himself in for the newer, shinier model, Jay Gatsby. So let's bring it all home. What's the final haunting lesson here? What are we supposed to take away from this story as we beat on against the current? At its heart, the novel's warning is this. The dream promises that wealth can fix anything. It offers a material solution to a deeply spiritual problem. Gatsby genuinely believed that his mountains of cash could literally buy back time, that he could just erase the past 5 years and get that one perfect moment back with Daisy. But the ultimate tragedy of the story is realizing you can't. Wealth cannot buy back time.
And here's the final brutal truth. Gatsby's failure wasn't really his own. It was systemic. His death is almost like a social purging. The system let this outsider climb just high enough to be entertaining, and then, when he got too close, it crushed him to protect its borders. In the end, the dream is only really for the people who are already living it.
Which brings us to that final, unforgettable, and just devastating line. So we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. What a way to end. It means that for all our effort, for all our struggling to move forward, we're always being dragged back by where we came from. Gatsby's story is the ultimate warning. If you chase a future that's built on a ghost of the past, you'll just end up paddling as hard as you can, forever, without ever really going anywhere at all.